All right, we're nearly there. We have some audios. Get some videos.
Welcome if you're just joining us.
There we go.
Getting things up and running.
I believe you guys want to check on the streams, but I think we're good to go on everything now.
Instagram did not transition yet.
Facebook is good.
Instagram's up.
We are already getting some questions in.
Oh yeah.
If you'd like to start typing your question, go ahead. We'll get started in a second.
Yep.
Instagram's still on the splash page.
It's showing live over here, so I think it's just buffered.
Is it red?
Give us a second.
Looks fine.
Sure.
Yes, just says it looking red over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could it be the lights?
Those
It's our
are all matching.
Rosy personality.
Sorry, wait. I think the display is showing on there.
Oh, no, yeah, you just jacked up our feed. All right.
Sorry.
Yeah, we'll just leave it.
Oh, let's put it on my laptop.
All right, we good?
Yep.
All
Yep,
right.
we're up.
Well, welcome everybody to the Zero BS live chat Q&A session. I'm Javad Shadzi, and this is Nate Stewart. We're here to answer all your questions about all things 034, anything automotive related, Volkswagen, Audi, anything that's on your mind, hit us up. We are deprioritizing update questions, so if you'd like to know when something that we're working on will be ready or if we're going to do something, we will try to get to those questions at the end, but we usually don't have time. Our goal here is to really engage with you guys on substantive topics that we can actually contribute answers to with a certain level of certainty, and sometimes when something's going to be done or ready, or we just can't say, and so it's just not as interesting to talk about that stuff. If we don't answer it, please don't take offense. We're not trying to be mean,
Yeah,
but we've warned you ahead of time.
We're not going to list every question we're not going to answer.
Yeah. We do get a lot of questions on this. We do our best to crank through them as fast as we can while still giving good responses. But there will be some questions that we don't answer, and we apologize. Join us again next week. Get your question in right at the beginning, and that should bode well.
Yep.
Anything else I missed? I don't think so. We got a lot of questions coming in.
Good.
So we'll jump into it. Someone asked, should I buy 034 control arms or OEM, not tracking, which will last longer? Also, do 034 control arms come with ball joints? I basically need a front end swap. Love my clutch delete and sway bar.
Clutch delete.
I'm glad you like the clutch delete. Obviously, we're going to strongly recommend 034 control arms. We believe that they exceed OEM quality and OEM durability. We also do stand behind our products.
Yeah.
And so if at any point you feel, and we agree with you, that the arms failed prematurely, we will work with you to get replacement arms or come up with a solution for you. There's definitely nothing like that on factory arms, and you're also going to pay substantially more. In some cases, 4 to 10 times more than what we sell our arms for. And our arms do come with ball joints and complete hardware kits that you really can't get anywhere else. We spend a lot of time putting together and curating these bolt and hardware kits. From the factory, you're going to have to go to the dealership and order all that stuff one at a time. Most aftermarket kits either don't come with hardware, or they just throw in a bag of generic hardware, which will work with some of the stuff. We replace every nut, bolt, and washer, not only with our control arm kits, but with the hardware kits that we sell separately as well. So we'd love to have you try our product, and
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason I can think of that would be you'd get anything better out of going with a factory arm kit.
Whether you're on the street or tracking or
Yep.
whatever, it's still
Yep.
going to be the best option. I'm running your E85 Stage 1 ECU and Stage 2 TCU tune on my B9 S4. Gas tank is showing 0 miles to empty, and I'm at work. A good 5 from the nearest pump. Will I make it?
No idea. Probably. Audi usually, you can consider about a 2-gallon reserve, I think, on most of these if you're truly on 0, but I don't know how long you've been on 0 either.
Yeah, I think anyone, well, who's driven these cars for a while will tell you, you got at least 5-10 miles when you see 0.
Yep.
I've seen up to 20, but depends how long that's been on and how long you've been driving. But if it just turned on, I think you'll make
fine.
it 5 miles,
Yep.
absolutely. If it's
Maybe
been
don't,
on
like-
for a day,
Don't launch it and do some rips on the way there. Just
drive mellow.
Yeah.
But yeah, no problem. What's the best or safest way to remove rust from the J slots and edge vent area of your two-piece rotors? My favorite rotors for the Audis, by the way. Oh, I'm glad to hear you like them.
Seen a lot of rust, I would say.
I honestly don't know. I mean, I've never done it. I would say probably like a Dremel with like a little brush tool.
Yeah, I was gonna say
on
wire
there.
brushes would be my.
If you really wanted to spend the time to do that.
Yeah, you can get the little they look like a toothbrush you never want to use, but the steel bristle brushes, they're really popular for like welding cleanup and stuff.
You can also do it by hand as well and
Yep.
get in there. But like a little Dremel tool would definitely be quick. But yeah, if it's a show car or something, if you're just driving it, most of the time those slots are going to have brake dust.
Yeah, pad material.
Covering in there. So, what would cause negative fuel trims on a B8 S4?
Depends how negative. Some trimming on most of these cars is normal, so I don't know.
Yeah.
What you're
How
considering
much?
negative. Yeah. It could be in any number of things. It could be you've got a fuel mixture that's a little different than what your mapping is for. If you're in like an E40 file and you've got E30 or E20 or something in there, you'll see negative trims. If you've got let me see, if you've got vacuum leaks around some like map sensor stuff, that can cause the map sensor to be a little higher than what's actually getting into the motor, which will pull trims negative because it thinks there's more fuel getting in. Any number of things can do that. If you've got your injectors, if they're starting to go, the spray patterns can get off, the nozzles can get sticky essentially, and get over or under fuel depending on how they're failing. That can cause all kinds of weirdness, and will usually be a bank-to-bank trim issue on that one. You'll see one bank starting to trim more than the other. Clogged cats, that's another one. You get way less airflow getting through one cylinder bank.
Yeah.
That'll throw one side off. So there's a whole number of things that can cause it. So if you want to work on narrowing it down, I'd say grab some logs, and our support team can maybe help you steer you a little bit. But there's quite a few things. If it's just a few percent too, generally nothing to worry about.
The lazy dog says woof woof.
All right.
Glad to hear. Welcome. Good to hear from you. Someone asked, is it safe to place trust in a seafood restaurant whose bathrooms are marked with buoys and gulls? Buoys and gulls?
Buoys and Gulls. I don't know.
That sounds like someone on the East Coast saying boys and girls.
That's pushing some dad joke material. Right
Very
there.
clever. I like it.
Yeah. No, we're on board.
It's probably safe, but you might shit your pants. Which is that
You're
really
in the right. You're in the
unsafe?
right place.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people shitting their pants right now, and they're perfectly safe. So it depends what kind of safety you're concerned about. E. coli, yes. Of course, if you're allergic to shellfish,
Yeah.
it
Maybe
might be a
not,
little shellfish. Think about others first. On stage 3 files, how often should injectors be changed?
It's not really stage 3 file specific. There's nothing about the stage 3 file that's going to increase a wear rate of injectors. I think generally been going around 50K. I think is kind of where we'll replace them. Kind of no questions asked here.
Yeah, I
just
think
as like a preventative maintenance thing.
I'll say we don't have an official interval of changing or a rule of thumb. However, yeah, if given the cost of injectors and the cost of having a clogged or failed fuel injector and the cost of that, I would say if you did it every 50,000 miles, you're looking at $1,000, $1,200 for new injectors. Not a bad idea. You could also get 2 sets of injectors and send one set out to be cleaned and tested. Or if you can afford the downtime, just take your set out, ship them out to somebody to clean. Have we been using anyone for that? I know RC Engineering.
RC's done stuff. We had another company we were using for a while. They were good to begin with.
The key is finding someone who can test at the higher pressures.
At the higher pressures, and that's where it's been a little tricky, is
Yeah.
finding someone that can truly
But
test them up to operating
I think
pressure.
RC would.
We're talking like 300, or not 300 on these, but 200 bar
Yeah.
or so.
I think RC was testing them at 4 bar, which is fine. It tells you something, but it doesn't tell you how the injector will perform at 100 or 200 bar. So,
Yep.
but I believe there's got to be companies out there now, especially with all the diesel stuff, that are doing that.
Mhm.
B9A4, is there something unique to first gear in the DSG? The 1-2 shift is always lightning fast and feels different than other gear upshifts, which by comparison are much slower.
Nothing. I mean, there's unique in that it is by far the lowest ratio in the transmission, and you're shifting into the second lowest. So, lots of stuff is happening much more quickly in those lower gears, where your engine's accelerating as quickly as it's going to accelerate in rev range, and then similarly in the next gear, it's the second quickest. So yeah, I mean, it's going to feel a lot different just mechanically, but no, there's nothing unique to first gear in those, other than its ratio.
I'm getting a tad bit of black soot or smoke on hard shifts with wide open throttle on my stage 1 tune on my B8.5. Do you guys see this sometimes or cause for concern? Thank you.
I'd say some sooting or some smoke is pretty normal.
Yeah.
They run at a fairly, you could say rich stoichiometric ratio with that. They're like 11.9 or something like that, I think, at the top end on like a stage 1, 2 B8.5. So yeah, I wouldn't be concerned about it at all.
Yeah, if you ever go to a dyno event, you'll see these little puffs of smoke during the pull, and a lot of times that's the ECU making adjustments or corrections. Sometimes it could signify detonation or something like that.
Yeah, if it's white or if it's a lighter color, usually it's more
Yeah.
concerning. You'll get like a knock event can show up as a white puff.
But keep in mind, the ECU is operating in a closed loop function, so it will go from leaner to richer and then be adjusting from cylinder event to cylinder event, which means you could have a few cylinder events that are extra rich as it catches that and adjusts. Even these really advanced modern cars are still running closed loop. It's a type of closed loop operation, and these aren't electric motors, right? So you have pistons going up and down, and it's kind of a mechanical disaster that's very well timed and developed by this point. But you could have a couple rich combustion events as the ECU corrects, and there's a lot of lag in the system, even though it's all happening in milliseconds. It's not rare to see a puff of smoke as those adjustments are made. What size wheel spacers would you recommend on a 2021 SQ7? Is this with stock wheels? Because with ZTF 10 or 11 inch wheels, you don't need really any spacers. If it's stock, I'm not sure what our recommendation is off the top of my head.
We don't currently have one.
Yeah, we should add that to the list. It would be the same for a Q7, I think. But it depends on the wheel, depends on what tire you're running. Usually on factory cars, you're looking at anywhere from a 5 to kind of 15 mil thick spacer. So one thing you could do is get some like washers and put your car on, a jack stand, and then stack some washers under the wheel till it's out where you want it to. You can tighten, snug the lugs down.
Don't drive it like that.
Put the car back on its way. Do not drive it. But then you can kind of get an idea of like, okay, this is about where I want it in the fender, and that's
Measure it after.
10 millimeters approximately. Don't go out too far because you're going to start hitting the fender. Also on SQ7s and Q7s, there's one bolt in the fender liner that always hits and rubs. You could just take that out. You don't even need it. So if you experience any rubbing, look in the fender well, and you'll see one of the bolt heads is shiny or sanded down by the tire. polished by the tire. You just remove that one, and no more rubbing. B9 RS5 just got the X34 intake. What should I get next? Well, are we assuming that you have a tune? If you don't have a tune, you absolutely should get one. If you have a tune, I would say sway bars probably.
Yep. Sway bars. There's a bunch of little stuff under there. While you're under there too, trans insert is a big one on those.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like really good bang for the buck stuff you can do underneath while you're there.
Yeah, it depends what stage you're at too. If you're stage 1, the stock intercooler is okay, but as you go to stage 3, you're going to need an intercooler upgrade.
Yep.
Depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for more handling, I would say springs and sway bars. If it's not fast enough for you, then stage 3 TTE 720s. C7A6 3.0T, do we replace C7A6 3.0T, do we replace fuel injectors preventatively, and on what mile signs weakness? Same response as earlier. You could replace them and then send your original set out to be cleaned and tested. That way you'll have a spare set. If you have any concerns about it and you don't mind spending the money, it's money well spent. The injectors, FSI injectors in general, do have some longevity issues compared to old.
It's just
injectors.
they're not a lifetime thing. I can't think of any platform that's been released with the DI injector.
And rightfully so. I mean, there's literally, the pressure of Hiroshima inside each injector, all the time. So it's just a matter of time before something wears out or goes bad. So.
And they can be tricky to diagnose too, because the ECU thinks it's metering a certain amount of fuel, it's reporting differently or whatever, getting a different result from the O2 sensor, but it may not be under all the situations. It may only be under like a certain fuel demand where the injector's kind of falling apart, and you've only got at most one oxygen sensor per bank to try and isolate it. So it's not like you can go in and like onesie twosie swap it out and try and like figure out the weak sad injector all the time. It's usually better insurance just to do them all and get a clean setup.
That's definitely my recommendation is buy new injectors and then get your original set tested and cleaned. That way you always have a spare.
Yep.
They're not that hard to change. You could just swap them out every year and just keep recycling the set. If one of the injectors at some point tests like it has a problem, then you just replace that injector. Happy Monday. Not asking for a specific date, but what B9 S4 S5 item in development are you most excited about? Very sneaky. Let's see. Gosh, we have so much stuff coming.
We have a
for
lot of
B9.
stuff coming.
The one thing that came to top of mind immediately, my immediate response would be MPI, for B9. I think that's going to be
It's going to be a huge one.
a great product, and we've come up with a very clever way for you to modify the factory cylinder heads without pulling your motor apart. So you'll be able to do that in situ, and not have to yank the heads off the car and send them to a machine shop. We're going to offer a very, very nice product for that. So immediately right off the bat, I'd say that, and that will unlock virtually unlimited fueling capacity for any kind of tuning activities in the future.
And it's all tied in a very OEM manner. The ECU's got full control of the fueling strategy, and it's not just a glued-on fueling solution.
Would you like to reveal?
I don't know how much more we want to talk about. Yeah, I was going to let you kind of lead that one.
Okay. Well, the other thing I'm excited about is our upcoming big FSI injector release, which is getting close.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got a lot of software work that's almost there. So,
yes, but we have all the fueling solutions that the B9 market needs moving forward.
yeah, and a lot of cool software tricks coming.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of more stuff I'm not going to talk about right now because I don't want to give our competitors any more of a head start. And I know a certain two-letter company is just writing notes down on every live that we do. So I'm going to let them guess a little bit longer. But maybe they could come up with something new too.
Yeah.
Great. Stage 2 downpipe. I see the product for S5, not SQ5. That's correct. Wagner discontinued theirs. We're not sure why. I actually just photographed our production unit.
Oh, nice.
And I think that's probably 3-4 months out. We're currently just going to do some R&D testing before we start production. But our unit's coming. It's very nice. It's basically our B9 S4 unit with just the different legs for the SQ5. So it's coming. For now, if you have to have something today, we would recommend the Miltech. I think it's pretty pricey. But if you can wait, ours is coming soon. Okay, we did 1 and 2. I noticed the 034 SPI app now displays exhaust gas temperature and post-cat temperature. Very cool.
Yeah, that app, it actually always has. You can add a ton of stuff in there if you want to get in and play with your gauges. But I think we went through and updated a couple of some of the default displays. But yeah, there's a huge number of variables if you're interested in some operating parameter of your engine that you can get on there. And if there's something specifically you feel it isn't there, let us know. We probably already have it and can make sure it's included.
Yeah. Someone says, is zero timing correction / retarding attainable on 93 and how? I was trying to think of a good analogy to describe why this isn't even something you should want.
Lost a light.
If you ever see zero correction on fueling or timing, something's probably broken.
Either your battery's dead.
It's not a good thing, and the timing and fueling correction adaptation of the factory ECU is a really nice feature, and you want to see it working.
Yeah, I mean, if it's truly zero all the time, there's a couple of things. Either you're so far underneath where the optimal timing could be, or the system's been numb to the point where it's not responding to actual events that it needs to. But having a tickle here and there of timing on like the lower octane fuels, 91, 93, is, I'd say, completely normal and something that's I wouldn't hesitate to worry about at all.
This is kind of like saying, is it possible to have an autonomous driving system that takes you down the road and never moves the steering wheel? And it's like the car needs the steering wheel to move so that it can stay centered in the lane. The steering wheel is supposed to move to keep the car centered. That's what's actually important. Whether the steering wheel's moving or not is not what's important. The important thing is, are you in the lane? Are you driving in a safe position in the lane? And this is the same thing with the ECU. You want the ECU making those adjustments. That's why it's there. That's how the ECU is supposed to work. I think there's some misconception in the market that if you have any corrections, that's bad. And there are bad tunes out there that rely on corrections to keep the tuning in a relatively functional range. That's not good. But if you have a good base tuned file, you do want to see those corrections, because there are circumstances that can optimize.
I don't know if you can read that.
No.
One of the Instagram comments is literally your steering wheel analogy.
Yeah. Oh, was it?
He's like, you stole my line. Yeah.
Sorry.
But anyway, sorry, I didn't even.
I was like
scrolling off the screen and
thinking of a good analogy, and that one just came to mind. But I was also thinking about somebody on a high wire, making adjustments too. And it's like, can you cross a high wire and be perfectly still? Like, well, why would you want to be?
Yeah,
you're balancing for a reason.
And we've talked about this in some of our other videos, but just if you see zero corrections on a tune, that doesn't mean it's a good tune or a safe tune or a safer tune. You don't know what's going on under the hood. That isn't a number that you can rely on to indicate really anything without knowing every single detail of what's gone into that file. That number could mean your motor has left the chat and is gone. If you see 1 degree of correction, it could mean that it's overly sensitive and too active and picking up false detection. If you've got a bunch of timing correction in there and it's leaving a lot on the table that it shouldn't be. So that number is very tricky and not an indicator of anything let's say end user or a customer to know without talking to the calibrator and getting their feedback on it.
Yeah. If we're talking about R tuning, there is a certain amount of correction you want to see. That's how
You'll see some. Yeah, I don't know that we don't like target a number, but we have like a range from 0 to usually like negative like 4 or so degrees, 4 or 5 degrees.
But it should never say 0. I mean,
all the time, every time, I would be surprised.
There may be times it does.
If you're running 93. Now, if you're running like 100 and whatever octane fuel in there, and it's so far beyond like what that calibration is set up
with
for,
a 93 tune.
with a 93 tune,
Yeah.
then yeah, you'll likely see a dead silent, just
Yes.
clean 0 knock thing.
But that's
So
not a normal.
that's not a normal situation.
operating.
That's not what it's.
Yeah.
So yes, if you want to, if it's attainable on a 93 tune, that's one way you can attain it. But
There are inferior calibrations on the market where these safety systems are either disabled or detuned or neutered to a large extent. We have our fact check video about that where we go over a lot of that. So just because you're seeing something, but doesn't mean you're seeing the real thing either. So with our tunes, those safety systems and calibrations are optimized along with the high performance calibration measures we take, and all those systems are working and functional. The engine mounts for the B9, do they outperform the OE replacement? Yes, absolutely, in every way. They're cheaper, they're substantially more durable, they will last virtually the lifetime of the car. We do have an extended warranty on all of our density line motor mounts. They are stiffer and higher performing as far as the movement they allow in the drivetrain. So when you put your foot on the throttle and the engine produces torque, that torque, instead of mushing and loading up the factory mounts, will be transferred to your wheels that much quicker. So the difference between running in sand and running on pavement. So yeah, there's really no comparison. All of our density line motor mounts outperform the factory. In the case of like B8 and B9 generation vehicles, it substantially outperforms. Why does my 2021 S4 come with 2 different branded brake pads at front and rear from factory? Fronts are Textar, rears are
front, rear.
Ferodo.
Okay. I'd be surprised if it was like left and right, but
I'm not aware of that. I will say in general that Audi uses aftermarket suppliers for almost everything in the car, especially brake pads. Audi doesn't make brake pads, right? So they go to an OE manufacturer, original equipment manufacturer, and they have pads made to their specifications. So I'm guessing that's I know Textar is an OE. I didn't know Ferodo was. I thought Ferodo was more of an aftermarket. But usually you're going to see like Brembo, Aute, Textar.
sometimes you won't even see who it's from. It'll be like a white label for Audi, and it'll just have an
Yeah.
Audi part number, but they're not making the pad. It's from some other like tier 1.
I would question if these are actually your factory pads.
That was another thing I was thinking too.
I don't think Ferodo is I thought that was an aftermarket performance pad company. I don't. That would be like seeing Hawk pads, from the factory. But I wouldn't be surprised to see different OE suppliers that made pads for the original specifications required. I'm just suspicious about Ferodo. So, but there's nothing to worry about there. They're both. Again,
Totally fine
I'm
for
not,
an OEM
I'm not aware
pad,
of Ferodo making OE pads, so I'm a little thrown off by that. But nothing wrong with Textar and Aute or Brembo or whatever. They're all OE. Is the locked 8.5 GTI able to be tuned by your software?
Yeah, we have ways to get around the SFD gateway stuff. So hit us up and we'll tell you how we're doing it currently, and we're working on more seamless integration stuff for that. But there are ways to do it right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ECU side. Now the TCU is a whole different thing. That's another solution we're working on. But that's we can flash both in a manner of speaking.
I have a catback system on my B9A4 and was debating going high flow cat to flash stage 2. Do you reckon it would get much louder? I don't want it too loud. Also, can an RS startup be coded in for the A4?
It's tough to answer.
It will be a little bit louder, but not that much. Our high flow cat is slightly louder than the factory one. I think it would be perfectly acceptable. It's not going to turn your car into, you know, some kind of glug glug, you know, rage monster exhaust system. So it's just going to be a little bit louder. You're going to have a little bit more exhaust sound, but it shouldn't be too bad. As far as RS startup, what do we do?
It's all feasible. I don't know if we've had any
requests for
that on the A4 stuff. We'd have to look at it. There's not a lot of difference there from how we're doing it on the like the S4s though. All the same maps are there. Yeah, without knowing what catback you've got as well, it's hard to answer.
Does the RS startup include a $2,500 a month car payment?
Doesn't. No.
No, it should.
That's.
APR is pushing a hybrid turbo, keeping the OE downpipe in place, OE catalytic converter in place. Should I or could I run a 034 stage 3 tune with an APR turbo on the OE downpipe? Just seems like too much pressure for the exhaust side. Yeah, it is. We haven't rushed to do a factory downpipe tune for those bigger hybrid turbos because the factory cat is very restrictive and really reduces the power output that's capable. We can do a tune for it. There is a certain power level we can hit with it, but it's much lower than running a stage 2 cat. So our tune is not tested on the APR turbo. It could work, but we can't say.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Would never recommend it.
We definitely wouldn't recommend it.
Never tested or validated any of that.
If our philosophy is kind of, if you want to go stage 3, go stage 3. If you want to keep the factory cats, this like a stage 1 plus setup is really good.
Yep.
Especially if you go on, 1 plus with the E85 is a very good setup. So yeah, I know why they're doing it. They're doing it for emissions and they're trying to de-risk their business, being a publicly traded company and stuff. But unfortunately for them, the output and power and performance isn't much better than the stock turbo at that point. A full bolt-on B8 S4 DSG, no sport diff on 1.5.1 trans tune will do the advanced launch control, but as soon as I switch it to the newer 2.1 file, in either of the stage files, the advanced launch control won't work.
Yeah, I saw this comment a while ago. I'm not sure exactly what you're experiencing. He mentions a couple other comments later about having it in the force sport mode, and it was working for him. So I think what he's trying to explain is he's not hitting the hard cut limiter, if I'm guessing here, but the advanced launch is probably still working. We need to know a little more detail on your situation. There's nothing in the ECU, especially the 2.1, that would change any of that. So I'm curious to know what is different on your launch enablement between them. So yeah, everyone that's on the 2.1 file has had very little to no issues for a very long time that we've had to do any kind of looking into. So hit us up. We'll see if we can get to the bottom of what's working on or not working on your setup, and get you a file that will, if it's that.
Hey guys, it's been a long time. This may have been answered already. Is it still worth investing in the EA837 motor, or is it time to move to the EA839? Really depends what you're looking for. If you have a car you really like, and you really like the performance of the supercharged motor with that instantaneous throttle response and that kind of broad building power band, then the EA837 is still a great option.
Yep.
There's more tuning and performance parts available. You don't necessarily need to build a motor to get as much as you can out of one of those. They don't produce enough torque to really stress the bottom end in normal circumstances. But yeah, if you want to make big power and get a lot of torque, the EA839 is much easier to do it on due to it being turbo. But you're going to have to put more into it. At some point you're going to want to do a built motor at least to address the factory piston issue and just to be able to hold the crazy amount of torque that motor can make.
Yeah, if you want to get really going high. If you're chasing a number, yes, the A39 is going to be a tougher or a better option to start, or platform to start with. I would strongly suggest just really driving and spending time in both if you can. They're very, very different driving vehicles. The 837 platform, the B8, B8.5, I'd feel is a much more connected feeling motor, where it's just instant power. The power you're going to get is right there. It's not going to be as much power as the turbo motor can make, but it's instant and it's available.
Yeah.
They drive very differently. So.
17. I'm not sure about that. What's that about? I saw this one coming. I want to jump on it. Someone asked, how is 034 doing as a company lately? I've personally seen 034 being recommended less and less, and seen people no longer with the company. Are times looking gloom business-wise? I'll answer this very honestly and directly. Is no, business has never been better for us. Since 2019, we have grown an average of about 20% a year. So that's crazy growth for any kind of company. We're not some .com startup. We're in this kind of niche Volkswagen, Audi aftermarket industry, and now we do some BMW too. But no, business has never been better for us, and we've chosen to disengage from a lot of the social media drama and the back and forth stuff, and we've really worked on this last year just focusing on doing what we do and doing what we do better. But no, as of today, our business is about 15% up year over year from the same time last year. So we are killing it. We're doing great. We really appreciate all the support that our customers give us. I think another thing that we realize is we're in all these groups, right, on Facebook groups and in the chats and all this stuff, and that is not representative of market opportunity or how well a company is doing, right? That's a popularity contest. So if you go into some Facebook group and the same 20 people recommend whatever tuner, that's not a business model. That's just a circle jerk of people who really like that company and recommend it. But we are at the point where we're more of a household name than a lot of these other tuners. So we're pulling business from everywhere in the market. We have a vast big dealer network. We sell through to the biggest online e-commerce sellers. We sell to every little shop and tuning shop garage in the country. We sell our products to companies like SSF who distribute them into thousands of auto repair facilities. So we're doing very well, and we're very thankful for the success and growth that we've seen. We continue to release new products, and we continue to see how we can make better products for you guys out there to make your cars more fun and fast to drive. I will say it's a relatively challenging economy right now with the tariff landscape and some of the economic wins that we're starting to see. It'll be interesting for everyone, but that's not unique to us. Everyone's dealing with those. Everyone's struggling with those. But thankfully, we're doing great. Financially, we're doing well. Plenty of profit to continue to reinvest and develop. And we want to continue to grow and be the market leader. And it takes that kind of success to reinvest to get more success. So yeah, no, we're doing very well, actually.
Yeah, and there's obviously no sinking ship effect and people leaving. We've had some people move on. They want to change careers. They want to do something different. So we're happy to help people proceed with their life path as best we can. So.
Yeah, and one of the marketing guys mentioned this, and I think it's true. So I'll mention it too. Is out in the groups, in the communities, there's a very David and Goliath mentality, and so we've been kind of the big player for a long time. Everybody, likes, to see everyone votes for the underdog, and we're not the underdog. We're we're the company that everyone's trying to take business from. So we come across like we don't need the business. People don't need to recommend us. And, you know, everyone's trying to help the new little guy come up. And that's great. That's how I started.
Mm-hmm.
Nate and I were at one point just doing this, just the two of us in a small garage. We were the underdog, and we saw and felt that support from the community, which was nice. But we weren't necessarily very good at anything then. We were just getting started. The quality of our products were not very good. We were completely underfunded. We had
Shoestring is a very,
paycheck to paycheck, you know, as a company, literally just maxed out a credit card, you know, to keep the company going. We're in a very different position now, where we have investments in cash and inventory, and financially, we're able to operate excellently as a business. So, you know, we are selling and helping a lot of small businesses get started. There's one small shop that I've kind of gotten to know him and been keeping an eye on what he's doing. I'm seeing his business grow every month. He went from literally zero to doing thousands of dollars a week of sales. That's great. And I've met his wife, and I've met his young daughter, and he's building a future for them, and we're helping him by offering him great products to sell to local customers. So, you know, we aren't the little guy, but we certainly help a lot of little guys be successful. And each one of you is a little guy who we help every time you buy something from us. Our goal is to help you with great quality products at a great price. And if you have a problem with your products, we want to take care of you as well. So,
and we're still, I think it needs to be clear, like we're still a very enthusiast-centered company. Like everyone here is bought in, is part of the community, part of the scene, part of making all this happen. It's not some bureaucratic thing that's just trying to make it buck. We're all excited for all this new stuff coming that we're working on. All the products we release, we take a lot of pride in and do our best to make it as fun, enjoyable, and as much as you want and more, and expect and more. So that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, I'm not some hired CEO from some finance company. You know, I'm the guy who started the company. I'm the guy who quit his job and started making car parts and was eating ramen, you know, to get it started. And Nate was also there in the very beginning. So we're the two guys here every week talking to you, and we're the original guys. So we're still the little guys. We're just doing a lot for everybody. Yeah. It's a dream come true for us to be in this position. Yeah. All right, now to an important question. Someone says, "Is it almost chili season?" I think you're referring to the pot roast chili that I make every year at Winterfest, and if you are, yes, that's coming up. My kids love the Winter and Summerfest, and they just like ask me like every week, "When's Winterfest?" I'm like, it's 3 months away, so it's usually in towards the end of January or early in February. So yes, it's coming, and I will plan on making another huge pot this year as well. Do you guys hire? Just curious.
Always.
Yeah, we have 50 plus employees, and we are pretty much always and constantly hiring, either to bring in new positions for the company growth that we're experiencing, or to replace people who've left or have been let go or anything like that. So you can check out available jobs at careers at the bottom of our homepage. So if you go to 034motorsport.com, go to the very bottom and click careers, that will show you all the job postings we have currently. Oh man, too bad this is taken. Someone says, if you were to make an OutBlowtion bundle, and with now trademark,
I saw that come through. I was like, oh, it's gonna be good.
Opposite of insuction, for the MK8 GTI, what items would you include? Well, I think an OutBlowtion kit would have the racing cat and any of the ResX products we offer. I think that would be it.
For an OutBlowtion?
Yeah, there could be like a stage 3 OutBlowtion kit with the turbo, because that's technically on the blow side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the turbo kits. Yeah, they're all on the blow side.
So, Nick, get ready. We're going to have to pay this guy something to license
Yeah,
OutBlowtion.
he's already grabbing the domains now, I'm sure.
Yeah. OutBlowtion.net might be the only thing available.
I'm sure there's some sort of. I won't go that far.
How does your stage 1 tune affect DSG DL501 reliability for a B8.5 S5?
Yeah, we've talked about this a bunch too in the past, where the most reliable you can make a automatic transmission of this nature, like or a manual transmission, is to slip the clutches as little as possible, but as still as smoothly as possible. So you want a really quick, almost digital switch over without any kind of harsh lashing back and forth, and that will prolong the clutch life obviously as much as possible. You get much less slip angle on the clutches over a good amount of time. It makes less heat. So ideally, having a really tightly controlled, tightly calibrated gear change is what gets you the best transmission life on these cars or any DSG style car. So yeah, I mean, in general, we haven't seen any reliability issues over these, and I would say it's as good or better than stock in that regard, and able to hold a lot more power than stock, because we've extended the ability for it to handle torque well outside of what it was originally calibrated for. The ECUs not having to underreport or misreport any kind of torque values in any way to keep the transmission happy. So it knows how much torque the ECU is making at all times, no matter the stage you're running, and it's accounting for all that, and is able to provide the clamping loads and shift strategies to make it all work and be a real seamless digital, like click into the next gear. You're not getting some clutch slip and wavering after, and then it's trying to add a little more pressure after the fact to try and bring the slip down. That stuff's what'll put some accelerated wear on your clutches. But we don't have any of that. So I'd say it's as good or better than stock.
Opinions on bench flashing B9.5 TCUs to get around inability to crack.
Yeah, we've talked about that. It's tricky. You need a B9 control unit, basically. We have the ability to do all of that. We're working on some solutions there.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't take your B9.5 TCU out easily and bench flash that currently easily. So we would generally do a similar thing to what's going on in a lot of the Mark 8 market right now, and do a controller with a different bootloader version.
Yep. A lot of questions still coming in, guys. So we got 10 minutes. We're tackling as many as we can. What does it take to become a beta tester for 0 through 4? Are there any openings for the B9.5 3.0 T platform? I don't know. You could email social.
Get in touch with us.
Contact.
Yeah.
Contact at. Let us know why you think you'd be a good beta candidate. We do have a fairly regimented process these days of what we expect out of one of our beta crew. We'll have it's going to depend on what we are testing, but there'll be detailed lists of test points we need, what kind of data we need, how we need you to go about it. There's obviously NDAs and stuff like that for stuff we're working on that you'll have to be a part of and be okay with.
So email contact at 034motorsport.com. Ironically, to be beta, you got to be pretty sigma, so keep that in mind.
There is a special handshake.
Yeah. Have you heard about CarPlay app development coming to new iOS? Do you think CarPlay compatibility with your app is something you're interested in?
Yep, we've been talking about. I've been dabbling and working on that for a long time. There's nothing. There's been some limitations previously. I haven't seen some of the limitations we need lifted yet. I need to look at some of the latest 26 stuff. I don't think it's there quite yet. We can do simple stuff. It would be like lists and some functions. Live gauges is what everybody wants. That's going to be a trickier one to get implemented due to iOS, not due to any of our limitations.
Yeah.
But CarPlay and Android Auto have their own restrictions in place on how quickly you can update, how timely it gets updated on the app, and how all that works. So doing things like fault code checking, lists, even selecting a flash can be possible from CarPlay. Something like that is totally doable. Live gauges would be a little tricky right now.
How to check for timing corrections? Is it possible with the 034 SPI app?
Yeah, totally possible. We have it on basically any of our data logging standard, like our normal data logging profiles are going to have timing corrections as one of the metrics in there. So you can grab a log and you can write through the app. After the it's not something you want to be staring at like while you're driving. So I would say you want to grab a log of it. And after the fact, you can go right through the app and view the log and see those corrections or lack thereof if there are any.
Someone says, thoughts on the new Mark 8.5. The new 12.9-inch touchscreen is comically large. You know, this is what all the cars have now. You want to see comically large, go look at a Tesla or something. I mean, that's like, you know, a full like 20-inch monitor, you know, stuck to the dash.
Yeah, it's the whole center console.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that from people that I've seen, they like it. The new tech is great in these cars. It's similar to the tech in the B10 that we got. And my partner just got a ID Buzz as well, and it also has, I don't know if it's 12 inches. Probably the same screen. Yeah, no, it's perfect on the ID Buzz, but that's a pretty big car. But yeah, no, the tech's great. Yeah, no, this is the way. Someday there'll be like an IMAX screen in front of you while you're driving, I'm sure. So, you guys have a tune for the Mark 8 Golf R running a PMAX turbo.
We do. It's not ready yet. We've been running a tune for a long time. There's some other stuff we're testing. Yeah, we've tracked it a ton. We've done a lot with it. Yeah, we're evaluating that tune still and working on a couple of other options around it.
Yeah, the power jump isn't as big as we would like
from our stage 2 stuff.
From stage 2, so it's like Garrett didn't really make the turbo as big as they should have. It's definitely a little better, but most people are going to be looking for a certain kind of. Their expectation is there's going to be a decent jump in power that's going to be very noticeable, and the factory Golf R turbo is very good. Makes a lot of power, so we really would have liked to have seen a bigger turbo, but
given a completely stock, long block, the factory turbo is a very good match for what's in there.
The jump in the GTI is much bigger, and that's why we've released that one. That one's been on the market, and it's a really nice upgrade. But and if you've never driven, on a tuned stock turbo, you'd love it. But if you've spent a while on a tuned stage 2 stock turbo, you might not notice the stage 3 power.
I mean, it is quicker, it is more power, but it's that bang for the buck we're trying to rationalize with it.
It's not a cheap upgrade, and we know that, and we want you guys to feel good about the power you get.
Yeah, we're kind of trying to make sure we cross all our T's and dot all our I's on it, and we've got everything we can out of it for these.
Someone's asking, where can I get one of these 034 coffee mugs? These are available on our website under 034 gear. So if you go to the top of the website and click 034 gear, all of our swag and lifestyle items are under there. We got sunglasses, we got tumblers, we got like 3 different kinds of beer glasses.
Yeah, free shipping.
And free shipping on all of our
Sweet
034 gear. So if you want to change your life, change your lifestyle, you know where to go. Just kidding. It's just like a mug you drink out of. It's not that big of a deal. Would you guys ever consider doing an East Coast event? I have been on your Stage 3 RS5 files. Our area has the best DA, and you should throw an event here. Which event would you recommend? We used to go to Waterfest every year, and like that's kind of like a biblical plague in Egypt, going there every year where there was storms, locusts, airplanes were crashing.
We've seen a lot of stuff there.
The humidity. One year, the skin, like in my bonch area, just completely left the chat, and it was just raw, like muscle tissue rubbing on each other. It's awful. Like
Yeah. Some of the worst bathrooms
we
I've
literally,
ever been
like-
to. It's like 106 degrees,
Yeah.
300% humidity, and you're just like in a soup of a bathroom.
we like literally drove into town to the nearest like drugstore, and I just bought like 8 different types of lotion, baby powder,
You had
like,
you had some
salves.
outblotion for your.
Dude, the most painful thing, I could barely even walk into the CVS or whatever it was.
Yep, that was rough.
Awful.
I
We're
think
just
that was
not
the
used
year
to
we did
that.
we did like a little trip through New York too, so we had walked a bunch, and
Oh my god.
that
Just
was rough.
the things rubbing against each other is not. I think I ended up with just like some 2050 Redline motor oil down there.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
At
It
least
needed
it
a
looks
higher
like that
viscosity. I tried 0.30 and it just, it didn't work. 034 mug can change my life, but how can I change my
How
wife?
can 034 change my wife?
I have no wife. Well, there's a lot to unpack there.
Yep.
Good luck with that one. Let's see. We got time for like one more. Do we have any dealers in San Diego? I can't think of anyone off the top of my head. I apologize to any dealers in San Diego. But you can go to our
it's on the map.
website and go click on our dealer locator. You can also just Google 034 Motorsport dealer locator. And I'm told there's plenty down there. We have good coverage in Southern California in general. So, yes. Yeah, just check out the dealer locator. That'll tell you everything you need to know.
What do you got?
What's number 8?
8.
The 034 transmount was spot on. Dropped average ET 660 feet.
Not
Any
sure.
file out yet to launch SQ5 above 3,000 RPM. Currently on stage 1 plus file. Also 034 high pressure fuel pump. Injectors made great amount of power.
Great.
Okay.
We are working on some of the launch stuff for the SQ5s. There's some limitations that on what the actual ADS module will let you do on those cars. So some trickery involved there.
Let's end with this one. Someone's asking about temps. 2015 S5 DSG with lots of 034 goodies. Just curious what you guys think of my temps from yesterday's track day. Oil had a high of 260 Fahrenheit, and charge air was a high of 80 to 90 C. Should I keep sending it? I think I need more cooling mods since my charge air temp is over 60 C for most of my session.
It sounds like
Currently
you're-
running a Merc Racing heat exchanger.
I'm guessing you're on track, like a road course setup here, based
Yeah,
on
sounds
the way
like
it's
it.
describing it. Yes, I would not keep sending it. 80 to 90 C is not something I would suggest
Yeah,
doing.
it's like boiling.
Sustained loads,
Almost
and
boiling.
lots of continued thrashing on. I definitely look into more cooling mods. I'd say intercooler pump minimum. Make sure your intercoolers are in good shape, everything's bled properly. But yeah, I would investigate that for sure. I don't know what your pulley ratios are. If you're on track with like some monster
Yeah.
pulley ratio,
They wanna
pulley
drop
down. You're not making any more power.
No.
Once your temps get up there, you're going to be making less power than you would with a more reasonable pulley. Again, if you're running some monster pulley ratio.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's probably a higher ratio.
Yeah, like a real low stage 2 plus ratio, or even just stage 2 ratio is a good place to be if you're going to do sustained driving on track.
I think the engine oil is on the high side,
It's
but not
warm.
terrible.
It's not crazy. The intake temps.
That's not the issue.
The intake temps are too high.
Yeah, you definitely want to be closer to 50, 60 C.
At
if you can be.
most, yeah.
At most,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, well, that's all we have for this week, everyone. Thanks for joining us, and appreciate all the questions and involvements.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next week. Cheers.
Take care.
YouTube.